your heart to a party and being arrested.
They keep making jokes about the government and everything else, but at the same time there's a latent fear of the police. There is always.
What about one hears, for example, that the telephone tapping is widespread?
Yes, well known. Many people know that their telephones are tapped, and sometimes you can even get the tapes from the police if you pay for them. For instance, if you want to follow someone, you know, a friend or your wife or something like that, and then you can get your own telephone tapped and then pay for the tapes.
What about your telephone, Father? Do you think that's tapped?
It is, definitely.
Is
definitely.
It?
We were told, yes.
As political refugees or seeking work, some 600,000 Paraguayans have left the country. That's a quarter of the population. Movement in the other direction, into the posher parts of Paraguay, is said to have included Hitler's deputy, Martin Bormann, Gestapo chief Heinrich Müller, and the doctor at the Auschwitz concentration camp, a Bavarian called Joseph Mengele, who's taken Paraguayan nationality. Inquiries about these retiring residents are not welcomed. Whatever one may think of dictatorship or of strong rule by the military, there is an excuse for seeing it as so far the only successful form of government for the peoples of Latin America and for the Paraguayans in particular. These people need a strong, despotic form of government. Faced with a choice, they fight among themselves. They only move ahead upon an order. And the man who always gives the order advances slowly from blatant dictatorship towards a kind of guided democracy. In the last election, he persuaded the Liberal Party to play at opposition, and they won more than a quarter of the seats. For the first time in 31 years, Paraguayans were offered two candidates. Martial law was lifted for 24 hours, and a newspaper permitted to attack the brutal regime. Before Stroessner, this palace had seen 32 rulers in 62 years. They came and they went, but they were always dictators. Paraguay is one of the least known nations of the world, distant, forlorn. Much of it a medieval backwater. By European standards enormous, but in this vast continent small, landlocked and suffocated by overpowering neighbours. 3 times the size of England and Wales, Paraguay is only the population of the Birmingham area and, apart from Haiti, is the poorest country of the hemisphere with the lowest standard of living. A fertile, abundant, underdeveloped nation, only 4% of its land's cultivated, and you can buy it for 10 shillings an acre. £1 a week's a good wage, and a house can be built for £300. Almost all the rare modern amenities, those taken for granted in other lands, like its 3 surfaced roads, have been paid for by foreign money. The people have always been ruled harshly, and if their submissive qualities disqualify them from any Garden of Eden, these dictators' subjects have a deeper secret. Paraguayans can be happy regardless. They've grown up in an unknown land, remote and primitive, with their own language and legends. As a South American Tibet, Paraguay can lurch through the centuries indifferent to the world outside. The air of magic noted by travellers can still hang over an enchanted landscape. Strangers, softened by its improbable character, are said to come here and cry twice, when they arrive and when they leave. For all its man-made faults, there remains a quality best expressed in the native Guarani. Paraguay has caavo, a sort of kindness.
ella ojo mancora curechevo. Areja sacuevo shekuru sumime emon boivodu. Era angamika tu ara hamakoshi angapupe. Tamu ayenteru arohe agua hesente amae. Amaro hara oho maera septi vai bubupe. Ai pagape haru nyam di jarai pupe toi shendime. Garu puture guapu jamero rendero gagupe. Atande peju gaguave buivino kubutu gangu. Opeisa jamero erente vara ai mi hande pupe. Perere me kuye mi habebi kuro jabisu.
1,000 miles upriver from the Atlantic, Asuncion stands on the Rio Paraguay. For 800 miles, this broad river, the Republic's lifeline, runs through foreign territory. This 400-year-old capital has never charmed travellers. A century ago, Sir Richard Burton wrote, "The streets are wretched. Every third building, from chapel to theatre, is unfinished. Over the whole affair, there's a thin varnish of civilization, but the pretensions are simply skin deep. Drainage has not been dreamed of." Paraguayans still haven't dreamed of drains. When the rains come, pregnant buses plough along like bloated gondolas. The Foreign Office regards Paraguay as a hardship post, and our ambassador enjoys 2 weeks extra leave. All transport has an old world charm. The railway, built more than a century ago, has changed little, and the locomotives are collector's items. The only connection with the outer world, 938 miles of track down to Buenos Aires. And 3/4 of that's inside Argentina. The tramway, Burton noted a century ago, still goes its decrepit way. Buses are individually owned, most of them by army officers. And you can tell who's the conductor. Paraguay has no income tax, no stock exchange, no traffic lights, though traffic in Asuncion can be fairly direct. For people who are fairly regimented nationally, they show a fine sense of independence on the roads. They boast only one road sign, and you really could hardly call that a road sign. It's the smallest of arrows painted on a wall. And to make life interesting, they make it very hard to see. There's one up there, you see? That's the road sign. President Stroessner, the leader of the people, is at his desk at 5 o'clock every morning, and it seems to be a case of when the president's awake, nobody sleeps. Oh, now I'm in a one-way street, you see? Wouldn't you know? Yes, thank you. Can't happen to anybody, I'm sorry. I'm getting an old Paraguayan look from that lady driver. Anyhow, as I was saying, this cacophony of horns starts at 5 in the morning. If I can find the gears. And in Asuncion, nobody needs an alarm clock.